Look at his little sprout. Look at his little sprout. Look at this little sprout. Oh, sprout. Sprout. Now, lower that. This has been here a while, and I apologize to the guy I borrowed it from because I had so many things, and I was just not inspired. Now I'm inspired. Let's get inspired. I've hooked it up. I unhooked it up. What is this? Well, it's the PS Audio Sprout. That's the only thing they've denominated it with, unfortunately, because it doesn't sound very cool. The TIAC over here, which I'll be comparing to a couple times, is the 101DA. The AI 101D sounds cooler. The Sprout, that's more money. This runs around $300. This runs around $500. You can get this on a deal with speakers sometimes, but there are benefits to this. It's essentially this. The front has headphone out. Then you got a four-way choose. A four-way choose. This is a choose now, everyone. We're going to learn new words. Vinyl, analog, digital, Bluetooth. So 4 inputs. You got a very nice clickety-clackety-click volume knob. I love this. I don't know. This shape hasn't been a thing for a while. I love adjusting it. Currently hooked up, and I'll show you the back. It's got micro 5-way binding posts, 2 of which are missing because this unit was used. Here's the Bluetooth receiver. This is for the vinyl, which I don't have hooked up because my vinyl player, frankly, isn't that good, and I don't want to drag it out here to bother the cat. We've got analog input, analog output, which is variable, which is constant with whatever you've got going on, I believe. Well, you know what? I can't test with the headphones in. Actually, should shut off with the headphones because the speaker outputs do. But you could use that as a subwoofer output because what is playing through speakers. 50 watt per channel speaker output, by the way. And it's got actually, for 300 ohms, or roughly around 300 ohms, about half a watt. So it's pushing the 600s nicely. Here you've got a coaxial input. Here you've got a full-size USB input, power switch. I know. I called you Sprout. She's upset. So what do we got? What does this have that this doesn't? This has a remote. I love the TIAC because you could throw it under a television and plug it in fiber optic to the output on your television, and that's it. You could just remote control power on, power off, volume. Even though it's got a physical knob, it'll just ignore that and use the volume. And you could just switch Bluetooth. It says USB, Bluetooth. This has 2 fiber optics and an analog input. This has USB, Bluetooth, 1 coaxial digital, and analog input, and a vinyl input with a preamp. See, now that's the thing, because for those of you who aren't familiar with vinyl, and I will be getting into it more and more in the future. God damn it, I started this. Now it won't stop. Okay. When you have most vinyl players now, the cheaper ones come with a built-in preamp, and that's because the actual needle is just a thing that's moving, and you have to send power to that, and then take what it reads and send it out, and that's usually the job of a special type of amplifier. Here's 2 examples: Emotiva XBS1 Gen 2 and the Shit Manny. These are about $150 each. And I have an old turntable in my bedroom that was free that I have tested them both on, and on that turntable with that needle, I can't tell the difference. And on that turntable with that needle, I can't tell the difference between this either. I had this hooked up in my bedroom for a while. So, saving, now there's cheaper ones obviously, but $150 for that. So that automatically, just adding that vinyl feature, is a feature. The USB is 24-bit 192. That's pretty standard nowadays. The analog input, which I've got the Cohen M2 going through this lovely GOTOR cable. In fact, the headphone wire here that I've got, this beautiful fabric, nice, soft, is also GOTOR. GOTOR. Never ever accept a free cable from them. They'll never stop emailing you about, will you make the review of our cable this week? You sent me it's a $12 cable. Keep in mind, it's a $12 cable, and it's beautiful. It's got, little speaker. It's got machined metal, and it's right angle, and it's great. It's good. But I wasn't going to give it a full review, GOTOR, all right? You get an email, say, hey, we'll send you a free cable. Oh, that's cool. Eventually I'll get around to it. Now I fucking got around to it. Now stop fucking, oh God. They do make nice stuff. I like this. It comes in that cool case. Because every wire needs a little tin with a window in it, because how are you supposed to know it's quality? Point is, forget the cable. It's just an auxiliary cable. I'll link to it. You happy now? Also, I'll link to this, because this is actually great for going. It's just a little bit long for going on the go, but I like it. Plug that in, turn it up. Not many, I said this was good. This actually has a decent headphone amp. Decent. This has a better than decent headphone amp. This actually has a good headphone amp. Like, I'm at half volume and it's just, I'm on Bluetooth right now. Very good Bluetooth receiver, because right now my phone is Bluetoothing to it. If I switch to digital, the USB takes over, so now I'm listening to Made in Italy. Switch to analog, now the M2 is playing. Switch to vinyl, and here's the weird bit. Switch to vinyl, I can still hear the analog input and a hum. And that's because I don't have it hooked up. It's either a ground loop thing or it's just a little bleed over. If I pause this, there'll just be the hum, which you got to expect with anything vinyl. There's just going to be a hum. All right, we'll get around to that whole mess. But for now, I'm telling you that I'm hearing... Actually, wait. Now that's maxed. If I so it's there. It's just not. It's there. I'm just telling you, it's there. I'm sure if you're not playing an analog signal as well as the vinyl, that won't come through, and the buzz will just be a buzz. So again, the rear is controlled by unplugging or unplugging the unplugging. Really pushes these well. I'm surprised. I'm surprised. I looked up the spec. In fact, I'll read you the spec. There's spec. Where's the spec? Headphone output 16 ohms, half a watt, 500 milliwatts. Then it goes all the way up to 300 ohm, which is what these are, 425 milliwatt. That's no variation. That's better numbers than I've ever read. That means that 32 is half a watt, and it would mean that 100 is half a watt. Because if you're showing, I mean, unless it's a weird curve, which they don't show, it's telling me 16 and 300 at pretty much 500 and 425. So that means that everything in the middle is going to be fine. I've tried a bunch of these headphones. They all sound fine on it. Better than fine. Better than this. This has a remote control. I think it's a little prettier. I don't know, the shape maybe. However, this is 50 watts a channel, and this is 23 watts a channel. And that's double. It's only 3 decibels, but that 3 decibels guarantees clipping doesn't happen. So that's why I had these fully knocked up. I'm like, all right, fuck it. And the monoprice monolith K-Bass here are just like, that's wonderful when you have multiple sources and you're switching between them. It's great. So, $500. It's $500. I needed a driver to install for USB to work. That's fine. It's got a pre-out, which this doesn't have. This has a dedicated subwoofer output, but you can use the pre-out on this as a subwoofer output. You can't use this as a pre-out. So you could actually, you would have to not hook up, if you wanted to hook up your own amplifier, you'd have to disconnect the speakers from this, then that would just be a line output adjustment on the back. No opticals on this. That's the big deal. Because, I mean, no remote matters and no optical matters, because if you're going to try to use it in the living room, this would take over. There would be no need to look at the TIAC here. If this had a remote control and this had an optical input, because most TVs don't have optical, they have coax. They don't have coax, they have optical. So and there's no point in a living room setup if you have to physically turn the knob. Great for right here at this desk doing what I'm doing. I want to play music off my phone. And I want to play music off my computer. And I want to play music off my little M2 player.
When I'm out of school, ask me what I'm gonna
And then I want to
do.
play music off my vinyl, which isn't here, but there will be a vinyl player in the future. I promise you, I will invest in vinyl. And it's going to be interesting because I know the bullshit that surrounds vinyl, and I'm going to explain it as hard as I can to you. And how bad it is. How bad it is as a hobby. It's just a terrible, nightmarish hobby. I can't wait to get into it.
She ever hear this, it's an honor. 'Cause
Nice and clean. It's a clean ass amplifier. It has no issue pushing these, and these are hard to push. You're hearing the static in the back of this song.
From Malcolm's last speech, saw the first man with the shotgun. Two more came to get the
Headphones back on. If you're gonna do vinyl, this is worth it because you avoid having to buy something like this. If you're not gonna do vinyl, it might still be worth it because it powers headphones better than the TIAC does. It's an all-in-one desk solution that you know, it wants to be $500, and it is. What's the bottom look like? Actually, look at that. Engineered by PS Audio Incorporated, Boulder, Colorado, USA. Made in China. Okay, it's fine. Everything's made in China. I can't, except for things that aren't. Except for things that aren't, everything is made in China. It's a bit pricey. But again, paying for the preamp, Bluetooth, USB, analog input, pre-out. And I think this is that real wood. Pretty sure I can feel the grain in it. It's real wood. They cover it in real wood. It's real wood. I did not pay $500 for it. It's real wood. There's real wood in it. You got to pay $500. But if you need a remote control and you're putting it in the living room, you need fiber optic and a remote control. Boom, you got to get the TIAC. So I'll link to PS Sprout. I'll link to TIAC in the description. Patreon's in the upper right-hand corner. And when people let me borrow things like this, that Patreon money is what helps me send it back. You know, I mean, it's not much for something like this, but like big things, they tend to cost a lot to send back. So just keep that in mind. And yeah.